Good morning, I'm Matt, and welcome to the Mr. Maple Show. Today we've got a great 10 at 10 for you.
And I'm Brian, and today we're really excited about this lineup. I mean, I think every week we're bringing some really exciting plants.
Right.
And today's the 10 at 10 on September 13th, 2022, and we've got a really cool setup here.
Hey, we're twinning and winning today. Me and Brian, this is my maple brother from another mother. We get confused for each other a little bit at open house.
That's right.
I got called Brian a few times for sure, but we're twinning today, so we might even get more mixed up.
Yeah, man. So I'm excited about this lineup. I think every week we try to top the last week,
Right.
which is hard to do, but we have so many amazing plants. I think we're actually pulling it off. I mean, this is going to be a really exciting lineup here. I think there's a few in here that people are going to really get excited about.
We're going no holds barred.
Yeah, this is going to be great. We're excited you guys are tuned in, and here we go.
So this is the 10 at 10 for September 13th of 2022. So remember, guys, these sizes are indicative of that time frame. If you're watching this video a year from now, sizes could be slightly larger, slightly smaller, but this is typically what we'll have around September of 2022. I think we got a good lineup for you. Let's start off with a Mr. Maple introduction, an Area 51 tree, and a Pendulous Treasures collection plant. We've got Fountain of Youth.
Fountain of Youth. I love the name on that. I'm really excited about your Pendulous Treasures collection. I think you guys have some amazing varieties that. And the Fountain of Youth, I think is super special because it has one of my favorite types of leaves. It has that Matsumura style leaf on it, on that Ryusen weeping style. I mean, those two combinations, I think, is just hit it out of the park for sure.
We were going through weeping seedlings looking for unique traits. This one would probably be a sister seedling to that Looking Glass Falls, and some Dragon Masters were selected around this time. This one is the Fountain of Youth. It has a heavily Matsumura style leaf. It leaves out and has almost salmon pink new growth when it first leaves out as well. Don't let this one fool you. A lot of people look at this one and think, is it a Ryusen? Is it a lace leaf? This one's gonna be shaped like Ryusen, so it gets about as big as you stake it. So
Yeah.
I like to stake this one up to about 5 to 6 feet, just let it weep down from there, and really some nice orangey red fall color on it too.
Yeah, and we've kind of started this trend. Well, a lot of people have started this trend with hanging baskets. I mean, it seems like everybody now has got some in a hanging basket. This is the perfect cultivar for that. This is the interesting concept to have what you would normally have, like an annual or some kind of flowering.
Right.
You know, you've got a maple in a hanging basket. Fountain of Youth. I mean, just imagine that just drooping down over the sides of that. Great for pots. I mean, you know, it's another way you can kind of accentuate that weeping, have that flow over the side of that. I just love the way this thing just gives you so much different texture and growth habit. It's really cool.
Yeah, you can put this one in the ground. I told you before, I had someone at open house, but they were like, hey, I really like this Fountain of Youth, but I don't plan on putting it in a basket. Like that was gonna be something wrong. I'm like, hey, that's perfectly fine. We've popularized that so much that people are associating it with it, I guess. But I'm like, this one's equally as good in the ground. Put it on a rock area, let it flow over the rock wall, or let it come down a bank. Anywhere you can use Ryusen, this will give you a different color and different texture plant, and just a really unique one too.
I think the name, I was just thinking about this too. The name is kind of fitting because it is the Fountain of Youth, because it'll get to a good size before you get too old. I mean, it's a nice vigorous grower. You know, it's going to get out there a lot quicker than a lot of other varieties. So, you know, you don't have to wait till you're 100 years old to see a nice Fountain of Youth.
For sure, for sure. I love it. It's one everybody's been looking for.
Right. That's right. Next up, we've got a really cool plant. I love this. This is Acer palmatum Katsura.
Oh man, Katsura, always a classic. Guys, we got some great sizes in these right now. Really good size 1 gallons in Katsura. You probably know this one if you're familiar with our channel. Golden yellow, even an orange border to that in the early spring. Great orange fall color. We're here in September, so they're their most green time of year, but man, some great sizes.
Yeah, and if you can give this some good morning sun, you really pick up that color on that. I grew this in Oklahoma. Very, very vigorous grower for me as well. It got out there pretty quick. I remember I bought just a very small 1 gallon size, and within just a few years, I had a nice, good looking tree.
Oh, at least a foot or more of growth a year on this one. So it's on that upper scale.
Definitely. Yeah, this is one, I just love that spring flush. You know, it's one of the first trees out in the garden to leaf out, so it gets you all excited about spring. It's been a long winter, and you know, you're looking out there, you're like, man, something's got to happen soon. And Katsura is kind of that one that really sets the stage for the show that's about to begin.
It's like that robin in the garden. It's the beacon of spring. The Katsura has leafed, it's time to go. It's go time for maple collectors.
Absolutely.
I love it. It's a beautiful plant. Try it as a bonsai. It's a small leaf tree. I've never seen one done as a bonsai,
that would be
but
awesome.
I think it'd be a really fun one. Okay, so full disclosure, everybody always asks what my favorite tree is, and it changes every week, right?
For sure.
So if I were picking my favorite green lace leaf, it would probably be Germain's Gyration. I love this plant. I think it's one of the most unique green lace leaves. So if I'm going specific to that category, when you pin me down on it, I might say Germain's Gyration.
Well, every time I think of Germain's Gyration, I think of the one at your mom and dad's place. That thing is absolutely amazing. I mean, this is like the giant of the lace leaves. I mean, this thing is very vigorous and just has some of the most amazing arching and mounding shape to it. The structure on the one over there, you just imagine that. And that's something you can get pretty quick.
Oh gosh, people ask if we shape that one. I'm like, we just let it do its thing.
It do its thing. Yeah. I mean, it's just a great grower, and I think this is one that if you have the space, you know, definitely need to have that in your collection.
So this is a tree that's going to look like a 100-year-old tree in 10 years. So Germain's Gyration, typically 10 foot tall by 10 foot wide in 10 years. We did an interview for Who's Magazine or How's, I don't know how you say it, but we did an interview for them, and I called it the Mack truck of Japanese maples, and I kind of like that. Like it gets out there, it fills out nicely. It's going to give you a tree that looks like something maybe at Longwood Gardens or at the Morris Arboretum or some of those older plantings of lace leaves. You definitely have to have space for it, but it's going to be a gigantic tree in 10 years. I mean, it looks like a mature, massive old specimen, and just let it do its thing. It's exceptionally heat tolerant too. I've seen this one do an excellent in full sun, zone 8, Columbia, Charleston, a lot of high heat areas. Great golden yellow to orange fall color, tough as nails, but incredibly vigorous. That's the thing about this one, incredibly vigorous.
And as you can see, some great sizes in our 1 gallons here. These are going to get out there really quick, so it's not going to take very long before you have a nice, beautiful specimen.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I can't say enough things about that one. It's one of my favorites.
So next up on the table, this is one of my favorites as well. I think we say that about all the maples.
I know, right?
But
I think this actually was one of the first ones you purchased.
It was.
When you moved here.
When I moved out here from Oklahoma, I was like, you know, I've got to get a maple, and what's going to be the first one? I wanted something I had never had before, and so I decided to get Acer palmatum Noel.
Okay, guys, so you've probably seen this one on a future or previous 10 at 10. Noel is a variegated form of Sendasojo found by John O'Brien. Shout out to John O'Brien, really nice friend of ours. This one's going to give you everything you love about Sendasojo. Think of it almost as like Sendasojo X Arita no Nishiki. So you're going to get everything you love about Sendasojo, but that swirling pink on top of it.
Yeah, like, you know, imagine that as a bonsai. I mean, that's
oh my gosh.
I mean, the colors on this thing is absolutely wild. I mean, I've really never seen anything quite like it. I was out in the greenhouses this spring trying to capture as much of this as I could. And I've been watching it at home growing. I've got it in a nice decorative container at the house, and it's just continuously changing. I love the way it comes out in that bright red with that hot pink swirling variegation on that. And then you transition into summer, and you can get this like gold red color to it with this soft pink swirling in it. It looks completely just wild on that. I just love the transition in color that this one goes through.
Man, I love what you said there. The bonsai guys are always chasing DeSojo and Sendasojo. This would be just incredible. I mean, it would give you all that, but then some like cyclical white and pink swirls throughout the season. Crazy coloration. You can't go wrong with Noel in the ground or in a container. I think you're going to love this one. Very unique plant for sure.
Absolutely.
We'll move on to another unique plant. I don't think we got any boring ones on the table today. This was one we got to evaluate very early on at our nursery. Shout out to Jerry Childs. He's the gentleman who named English Lace. We've got Acer palmatum dissectum English Lace. Now this is basically the best version of an upright red lace leaf I've ever seen.
Yeah, this is like what everybody's searching for. I mean, you know, you have the Seriu, and everybody thinks of that upright with the lace leaf, but to have a good red lace leaf that's going to kind of compare to that shape overall, I just think that's just an amazing pairing, just thinking of those two side by side.
Right.
I think it's just a beautiful thing to have a lace leaf that you can get up high into the air. You know
it's
what I mean?
awesome. This one distinctly arches upward instead of downward. All your growth will be aimed up. You can always accentuate that by staking it or, you know, pruning the lower branching. but it distinctly is an upright tree with upright arching. Makes a nice dense canopy. It's a little slower growing than Cereus, so think of this one in that 10 to 12 foot range. It's not going to quite put on the 1.5 foot plus you're used to with Cereus. Maybe a foot of growth a year, but not on the same scale as Cereus for growth, but a beautiful upright tree. Excellent colors too, that bold red going to a scarlet in the fall. It's by far the best upright. Jerry Childs actually sent us 2 different trees early on, and we evaluated the 2 with him, and we discussed with him what our favorite choices were between the 2, and then 1 tree made it into the trade as English Lace. I was honored to be a part of that. I thought that was really cool. We've since got this tree out to more distributors. I mean, I've shared it with Carl Munn and Talon Buckholz, and it's becoming more popular because some of the bigger guys started to grow it. But awesome plant. I think it's starting to make its rounds and really starting to build up some momentum as far as what it can actually offer. And I think more people are getting familiar with that form.
Definitely. So next up on the table, we've got an awesome plant here. We've got Acer Shirasawanum Sunny.
Oh man, I love this one. Another great Crispin Silva introduction. Shout out to our friend Crispin. What I like about this one the most is probably that spring color. This thing's just a crazy orange in early spring. You got some awesome photos of spring of it.
Yeah, this is a newer introduction. So when I came out here, I wasn't real familiar with this particular cultivar. Crispin, he's always got some of the most amazing cultivars out there. I mean, he's got some really good ones. But yeah, that spring color on this is really unmatched when it comes to this type of leaf style and just that strong upright grower. You always got your Summer Gold and your Jordan, but this kind of fits right there in between that. I just think it has some amazing colors. Extremely
vigorous. From what I understand, this one may be a seedling from Jordan. It would be really cool to plant it near Jordan in some sun, because Jordan has that like ethereal yellow in the early spring, and this one's so orange. They would look similar, but they'd have very different spring colors, I think. Really a showy plant. A lot of the good qualities about Jordan, though. It's very vigorous. It's probably got some palmatum in there as well, so it's like Shirasawanum X palmatum. Makes it a little bit faster growing. I love this plant. It's been one we keep offering. One, it's a good grower. It's got good color. Oranges in the fall, oranges in the spring, golden yellow all summer. We're actually here in September, so you can see some still pretty good colors on these right now.
Well, Timmy always says he loves yellow. Well, I love yellow too.
He's not the only one that likes yellow.
He's not the only one that loves yellow. But this is an amazing plant to contrast with so many other things. I think if you planted this next to like a Fire Glow or something like that, you would just be really showcasing that difference in color. And that yellow really brings out everything else in the garden, I think.
It's a showstopper. All right, so moving on from one orange introduction by Crispin in spring to another, so we might drop on them. We've got Mystic Makawa coming back today, guys. Don't kill me, they're not gonna last long. We've got a big set though. Mystic Makawa, one of the more popular Makawa Yetsubusa variants for sure for that spring orange color.
Yeah, and don't worry, I've already got one of these in my collection, so I've left plenty for you guys. But it's like every week we do a 10 at 10. I'm like, man, yeah, I really like that plant. But fortunately for you guys, I've already got this. But I mean, Acer palmatum Mystic Makawa.
Oh yeah.
It's got a great name too. I love that. It's just like this mystical thing in your garden. That bright orange when it leaves out. Tightly layered compact growth that you would expect with like a Makawa Yetsubusa. I mean, it's just one of the great variances out there. I think, you've got a collection, a little Makawa garden going on, and I've got a collection of them going on too. I just think it's really cool to be able to have that same type of plant, but so many variances of it. And this is a great one for sure.
Oh, awesome plant. Here's your little trivia question or thing about our nursery. I actually had a tree that looked exactly like this that I was going to name when Crispin named Mystic Makawa. I bought out all I could get from him originally. He talked to me and I said, give me every one of these I can get. So I started grafting it and producing. We've got a ton of stock plants here. We're always up in our production. But I had one that looked identical. We were calling Oompa Loompa. And so I actually discontinued it because, I had more Mystic Makawas at that point once I got them all from him. So I had more in that. But it's an awesome plant, and I like the Mystic Makawa name better. Yeah, so I said I'm going to stick with that. I think that's the winner for the group. And the two are too similar to do both. So Mystic Makawa went out there. Awesome plant. Neon orangey colors, especially if you give it some sun. I find that on these you get the best color in the ground in the sun.
Yes.
So if you can get it in the ground, let it leaf out slow, wow, you get some just insane colors on this one.
Yeah, I had this in Oklahoma as well. I had it in a little bit of sun, and I definitely could tell that color was a lot stronger.
Oh yeah.
The more sun I gave that. I had it next to a Japanese princess, and it was just a great pairing with those two together. I just love these Makawa types. I can't get enough. I know we can't.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I know you guys can't. Everybody's wanting the next awesome Makawa, so I know these won't last long.
I think so. I love that set. For me, it's like the non-variegated ones.
Right.
Mayday, Japanese Princess, Mystic Makawa.
Oh, yeah.
I think Red Panda and a few others are going to be right there with it, like that Koi and Red Panda kind of fit that whole little niche of the spectrum of colors. But
that's a couple I got really excited about. We got the Koi and the Red Panda coming through. But Mystic Makawa, I mean, you got to have this in your collection.
Guys, don't wait on this. Don't kill me. I always tell people were like, oh, it's sold out so quickly. I'm like, guys, we try to keep it really cheap.
Yeah.
I've seen these sell for $240 in auction, online, and we keep our prices low. We continue to keep producing them and try to make it easier. So we're going to keep doing that, and we're not going to gouge you on the price. It's something we're going to keep at a reasonable price to us that we think is fair. We're not somebody trying to jack these up and make it impossible. We'd rather put them out there and have people first come, first serve, and get an awesome plant.
Definitely.
And keep doing more of it so it gets out there too.
All right, so next up on the table, we've got Acer palmatum Shinju. Now, this is a great green Japanese maple. I was talking with you earlier, and I was telling you this reminded me of the kind of the Aoyagi style.
Oh yeah.
With that green bark, with the lush green leaves on that. I just think it's a really cool summery feel that you get from this plant.
Shout out to Andrea Link. We got a great photo that she uses on this one. It definitely gives you all those summer feels.
Yeah.
It's got that lush green, kind of that Kelly green, more picked up green than even a lot of maples. And it has a glossy sheen to the leaf, greenish bark, and then a golden yellow fall color.
Yeah.
So it gives you all the summer feels for this one. There was an article in Tsukiya Living a couple years back, and it talked about how in traditional Japanese gardening, a lot of greens are used to give you that summer feel.
Right.
And that makes perfect sense.
Absolutely.
I mean, and this one, it's like over the top amount of green. I mean, it's everything green, glossy green leaf, and it definitely pairs well with a lot of other Japanese maples because of that.
Yeah, it's going to contrast with just about everything that you have in your garden, especially with that yellow fall color like that. I mean, it's going to just be a presence out there, a strong, upright grower. Definitely something you need to have in your collection for sure.
Really fun plant, great one to be growing. So we recently did a video on columnar plants, some of our top favorite columnar plants, and we bumped this one up to a 10 at 10 because of that video. We said we need to get it on the 10 at 10 soon. That video is going to air. If it hadn't aired, it'll be airing soon. Some of our favorite columnar plants, and this one is DeGroot Spire.
Yeah, after we did that video, it really got my interest on this plant. It just seemed like there's so many different uses for it. I mean, obviously a perfect for screening plant, something you wanted to line the back of your yard with. That's not going to take up a huge amount of space. Something like a green giant, you're going to take up so much space there. Great screen plant, but you're going to have, you're going to lose a lot of space. Where this is going to be just a couple of feet there, 2 to 3 feet wide, and just going to provide that evergreen interest there and keep, your nosy neighbors from your yard.
Right. I've got one of these going down to the lower part of the nursery because it's never going to grow out in the road.
Right.
And you still get that height. I talk about it a little bit in the columnar video, but height is so great because a lot of times in gardening, we're creating these little rooms, and when you raise the ceiling, it feels like a bigger room. So when you get that columnar interest going on there, it makes everything in the garden, look more spread out and larger. It just really brings the eye up to a lot of places. This one's just a monument there in the garden. It's, a 14-foot tall tree isn't any more than 3 feet wide-ish.
Yeah.
So very nice compact habit to it. DeGroot Spire, excellent grower. Shout out to Dr. Critico. Some of the photos we use are at his place. He has them kind of on the entranceway, aligning some other columns going into his home, and it's just a beautiful way to use this one.
Absolutely. I just love the form on that. I think that's a great plant for so many different uses in the garden. All right, last and not least, we have Acer palmatum green strap.
Oh, I love this plant. I think the name doesn't do it any favors. It's a great name. I've seen this one also sold as Verdalace, but I think he dropped that because it sounded too much like Verdus, so it was a little bit more confusing. Interesting shaped leaf. This leaf, every little leaf, it kind of gives you some of what you like. It's not variegated, but it kind of looks like lily pad in that twisting, thin, like some of the top foliage almost looks like bird feet. Like it has that little like elongated, thin foliage to it. Very unique tree, excellent fall color too.
Yeah, and small leaves as well. You know, you kind of get this real frilly feel to it. Each leaf is a little bit different. Just a great texture, I think this plant provides. Right. And I think, you know, you could fit that in a small space as well with that nice basing for them like that. It's not real wide spreading. Just a great upright tree.
Incredibly heat tolerant. This one's going to grow into a little bit more of a V shape. It tends to be multi-stemmed and more V-shaped. The fall colors, I mean, it can rival japonicums. I've seen oranges, reds, and yellows all within the same plant. Yeah. Really a fun palette for that fall color. Almost like hand-like or like bird foot-like on some of the foliage. I mean, it gets a really unique foliage. It almost feels variegated, but it's not a variegated plant. It's exceptionally durable. This one can go in sun up to zone 8. And just a really fun one to be growing. Definitely check out Greenstrap. It's one we offer a lot here at Nursery. We really like it. I think it just brings something a little bit different in the garden. It almost has a bamboo kind of quality to it too, because that's so thin.
Love that plant. Well, man, what an amazing lineup here. You know, as we're going through here, I was thinking maybe we should talk about some pairings here, because there's so many great plants.
Right.
What would you put together, Matt, as a great pairing?
Okay, so I'm gonna be a goober here, and I'm gonna pick my 2 favorite things. Not necessarily the 2 best things to pair, but I'm gonna go with Fountain of Youth. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And Mystic Makawa. Now, I don't know if those are the 2 best pairs, but those are my 2 favorite trees, so I'm picking those. I might put a few of the Weeping Pendulous Treasures collection in that Makawa garden and just let them spread out. Let it carpet some area too, to provide some low interest without it being staked.
Yeah, and, great way to kind of keep the weeds down in that area as well, and just kind of create a ground cover and something different than you would normally see.
I think I'm going to do that with some of the Makawa areas and just kind of let them spread out around them. But I would pair those 2 because those are my 2 favorites.
For sure.
Now, what would you pair here on this table?
Well, you know, when I think of pairings, I'm always thinking of these really stark contrasts. Right. So I think just a Sunny next to a Noel, I think would just be out of this world.
Right, now that's the sophisticated pairing. That's way better than mine. That's actual color palette pairing there. I like that.
I mean, you have the red, hot pink, yellow, and orange. I mean, those colors just are going to make each other stand out even more than they already do. I mean, the transitions too. I think both of them go through a lot of transitions. The Noel goes through so many color changes. The same thing with the Sunny. So you just have this constant color change. So much color, It would be a great pairing, I think.
Oh, I think that's an excellent pairing. Hey, thanks so much for watching today, guys. If you're liking this kind of content, I think we're putting out a video every single day since Brian's been here. It takes a lot of work to do that. So we're always editing, always filming new material. And we ask that you subscribe and share these videos if you're enjoying that kind of thing. It helps us a lot. If you're subscribing, and sharing, we have a current challenge with that hashtag Japanese Maple still going on. So you can always put that in the comment section below after liking and sharing. And you'll be entered to win a $25 Mr. Maple gift card.
Yeah, and let us know if you have any video ideas as well. We're always kind of trying to think of new ways to present plants to you guys and get you guys excited about different things that we have here. And we hope that you enjoy this lineup here. I mean, we got some heavy hitters on this one.
We let the floodgates out again. We try to just let it go. Now, this is just 10 of them, guys. So sign up for that weekly email. There's 20 plants on there. There's a lot of cool things we didn't even have here on the table. We've been doing 20 plants every Tuesday at 10. That's 10 a.m. Eastern. So sign up for those emails. You'll get notified the full list. We greatly appreciate everybody joining these premieres too. So we've been premiering our 10 at 10 videos, and that chat's just been growing. We've hit triple digits a few times, which is pretty cool in the chat.
It's a really exciting time here at Mr. Maple. I mean, we've been growing the nursery out here, building new greenhouses. Fall's just around the corner. You know, the greenhouses are going to get crazy exciting again. And I just think it's a really cool time to be a part of this show and just have you guys come and join us. And hopefully we can present to you guys some plants in a fun and interesting way here. And
we appreciate that because it lets us do what we love, right?
Absolutely.
The more you guys participate, the more we get to do what we love. So
that's right. Take care.
God bless.
And have a great day.